use the guitar. Usually, that's really my main instrument's the guitar, but in this one we're not using the guitar because they didn't use guitars. They had guitars, you know, a house like this, probably the young women in the family played a little pretty parlor guitar and played tunes, that little songs you could sing and everything. But somehow they never put it with this music. It was much later, like in the 1920s really, that people started putting fiddle music and guitars together. So
we have a man we talked to who was born in 1909. The first time he heard a guitar was on the radio.
No, I'm telling you.
Oh, on telephone. That's right, on the telephone.
I have to tell you that this was on Sand Mountain, and they had party lines. Remember party lines?
Yeah.
Party lines. And there was a family that played music. And they would call everybody and say, now at 2 o'clock on Sunday, pick up your phone and we'll be playing some music. And so they played and people would listen, and Mr. Lacey said, what was that instrument? And he asked me, what's happening there? And they said it was a guitar. I had never even heard one. It was pretty much an adult. Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on.
Probably.
Right, we'll move on to Southwest Alabama, down in Clark County, almost, real close to Mississippi. And we'll play some tunes from a black fiddler whose music we learned through a very circuitous route. It began with a newspaper article I found in the Thomasville Argus, and it was dated in the 1890s. I don't know if I have the date in here or not. But I was traveling around doing research for my book, and I was in the courthouse, county courthouse at Clark County, and that's where they kept the old newspapers. And back then, I had to go page by page. They weren't scanned. You couldn't enter your search term on the internet and find it, So anyway, I came across this wonderful article, and it was, 1897. And it reported on what it called the crowning social fate of the season, which is presided over by, quote, the city's master violinist, Gus Rhodes, who wielded the bow on this occasion in his masterly way to the tune of $10. So there's a little joke there. They were paying $10 in 1897 to play for their dance. And there was another article later in the year that spoke of his playing of the tune "The Lost Child" at a dance where, quote, young people glided to the music. So that was the name of one tune he played. And the articles did not mention he was black. The way I found that out was when I was down in Clark County interviewing a man named Henry Lee Hudson, who was born in 1806. I think 1806. I think it was 1806. Anyway. 19. I always get my centuries mixed up. I mean, here in a house like this, you can't talk about anything past 1800 or so. Anyway, so Henry Lee Hudson, born, I say 1906, his father had played, and his father had played with Gus Rhodes. And he said, when I said, have you ever heard of Gus Rhodes? He said, oh, the black fiddler. And I didn't know he was black. And he said, oh yeah, he was. And so I looked at the census, and sure enough, he was. And so that was really neat because Henry Lee Hudson was a very valuable source to me because he had put his fiddle away, like he had played from the time he was a child up until the 1930s or something, and then he stopped playing for a long time. So when he came back to fiddling, he was pretty rusty, and that's when we got him. He was kind of rusty. But he knew he played. He still retuned his fiddle the way we're doing it here, and he knew all these old tunes. And so one of them, I asked him about the Lost Child, and he knew that. And he also told us that they didn't have guitars, and so his whole family played it, his father and his brothers and all. But it was all fiddles. Early on, it was all fiddles and maybe banjos. And so when they played for dances, there was no amplification. And so they wanted to sound as loud as they could. So they did this twin fiddling that had kind of drone part. It had like two parts, a high part and a low part. It kind of amplified the music. And he taught us a tune they played that way, and it's called Messenger. And I thought that was a beautiful name, but it turned out, I thought it was some kind of messenger from heaven, but it turned out it was a racehorse. And I'm changing keys here, rather than retuning.
Like I said, the fiddle is naturally the key of D, and this particular tune is in the key of D, so.
Yeah, okay.
Shoot.
Messenger. So, anyway, we'll start out playing the high part, and then Jim will drop to the low part, and then we'll swap out, so you'll hear all the different parts and how it sounds.
Play your first one. There are open tunings for the key of D, but and this tune would probably work well in one of those. But I like to do it standard. So that's where Henry did it.
Good. Good for him. We'll do it the way Henry did it.
Wow. I've got a wrong tune. Still started off on. There we go. Okay, sorry. And another team running away. Ready? One.
that we heard, that we read about in the paper. In 1897. And I just felt really fortunate, you know, that I read about this and then I met a man who actually knew the tune and he's probably the only person still alive who knew this tune, you know. And so I just felt very pleased with that.
There is a recording version of this from 1928. But it's not the same.
Oh, it's not the same.
It's the same name, same violin tuning, but really different.
Really different tune.
And so,
Great.
yeah, it's great, but this has its own sound. So let me see if I can get close. combination of a G10, but now I've got 3 notes of the chord. So there's a G and a D and a G and a B.
And this of all of them is the most haunting sound of all of them.
Yeah.
You can really, anybody can hear that this is different from normal tuning, I think.